This is a restricted area. State your business. Your being here is a start, soldier. We aren't exactly overflowing with troopers here. But if you really want to help us, talk to the idiot with sunglasses in the back of the plant building. He's been trying to get this place running for months and hasn't made any forward progress. I ask myself the same question all the time. But energy is hard to come by around here. Gives you more control over this area than troops ever could. Hell, if we lose the dam to the Legion, this little plant may be our last stand. There should, but we're not getting much power out of it, so none of our enemies have big interest in it either. Not like Hoover Dam, anyway. We had a real fighting force here just long enough to take it from the Brotherhood of Steel. Then they got sent east to the dam like everybody else. Caesar's Legion sends skirmishers every so often, prodding for weaknesses mostly. The reality is, if they really wanted it, we'd all be dead. Damned if I know. Put up a hell of a fight, though. We had them outnumbered, I don't know, 20 to 1 maybe? They held out as long as they could, lost most of their force before they retreated. Gave us a little parting gift, too. They had some of the plant running, but they shut it all down. Enabled an old security system, too, to keep us away from the controls. Jerk-offs.
Who the hell are you? They bring you in to replace me? They're replacing me, aren't they? Damn right you're not. Goddamn right. Why would they? You can't top this guy. Just a little more time. You can't keep Fantastic down for long. What else? I'm in charge. This whole operation depends on me. No Fantastic, no power. Got the whole NCR suckling my teats, and it feels so good. Well, see, we're getting power because the guy running this place is fantastic. But the mirrors outside aren't aimed right, so we're running at 1% efficiency, and I guess that just isn't good enough for some assholes. Trouble is, most of the controls for this place aren't here. They're in the tower. And that place has some crazy pre-war security system that the dumb shit NCR set off when they took over. Killed 2 guys. Now they won't go near it. They want me to make an omelet, but I can't break any of their eggs. Know what I'm saying? There's these 2 terminals outside. They control the mirrors. I tried fooling with them, but didn't get very far. You'd have to get them to talk to the mainframe up in the tower, then do the rest from up there. I'm guessing, but it sounds good, right? Hey, you're not thinking about going up there, are you? Well, hey, if you find yourself up at the mainframe, do yourself a favor and make sure you send the power to the right place. It needs to go to the Strip and McCarran. Because I get paid, that's why. Per kilowatt hour. Whatever the hell that is. That's where the NCR wants the power, so that's where I want it. But you know, you do that, maybe I put in a good word for you with them. Fantastic's little helper. There's a reputation you can hang your hat on. Worried? Do I look worried to you? I've got this under control, baby. No one else can do what I do here. Fuck, man. Everything. I push buttons, I turn dials, I read numbers. Sometimes I make up little stories in my head about what the numbers mean. Like one time I imagined they were a code to get into a vault full of naked women. Man, how cool would that be? No, man. I know exactly what I'm doing. I just don't know what effect it's going to have. Over there controls power in this building. That station has readouts on the computer network. That big knob there makes a crazy noise. Sparks come out of that slot if you put stuff in it. And I'm learning more every day. It was easy, man. They were going door to door asking if anyone knew any scientists. I said look no further. They asked me if I knew anything about power plants. I said as much as anyone I had ever met. They asked me how well I understood theoretical physics. I said I had a theoretical degree in physics. They said welcome aboard. Here, you'll want this. It's the password to one of the terminals outside. Found it written on one of the stalls in the bathroom.
In case it's not obvious, I think you should redirect the power to Freeside and Outer Vegas. NCR troops control Hoover Dam. Why do they need more power? That's a valid point. I'm not really behind the NCR in all of this, but the last thing I want is panic in the streets.
It's unusual to see a new face here. Are you a soldier or a scientist? Then we have that in common. Whom do you typically work with? You're right, I'm sorry. That imbecile in the next room has me on edge. I used to be more fun. I'm still passionate about my work, though. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I'm in the Followers of the Apocalypse. How about you? That's reassuring. Although many who've made that claim over the years have had less than pure intentions. But if it's really as you say, then take my advice. This installation carries with it dangers that no one here has realized. Take care of what you do here, and who you listen to. Some things are best left buried with the old world. I don't entirely know. Our records on the company that built this place suggest that their dealings were not only in energy, but also in weapons. And I've seen equipment here marked with symbols used by the pre-war military. Targeting computers, shock sensors. A code word comes up repeatedly in the papers I've looked through here. Archimedes. Yes, and the technology they have in this facility is like nothing I've seen. Some of it reminds me of Enclave equipment, but more advanced. A weapon based upon it would be catastrophic, no matter who claimed it. It's no wonder the Brotherhood wouldn't give it up. They weren't here for me to ask, but I doubt they were here for electricity. When the NCR first came here, it was under Brotherhood control. They usually steered clear of one another, but something here changed their minds. The Brotherhood's interest in pre-war technology has always been in weapons. It's likely they were trying to reclaim Archimedes when the NCR arrived. Then I would say do it. As long as the power of this plant is committed to the regional grid and not to a weapon, we are safe. If you're the one to restore output, then you can route the power where you choose, and they'll never be the wiser. I can't get you past the security in the tower, but I can be of some help. I've discovered a password for one of the mirror control terminals outside. You'll need it. Oh, the NCR has their own designs for it, no doubt, but resist the urge to send it only to the thriving communities. The need for power is great everywhere. Distributing it evenly is the most rational and humane choice. I'm a man of letters. I'd be torn to pieces by the security system they have in that tower. I'd never reach the mainframe. But eventually, the NCR will. Or if not them, Caesar's Legion. They will use this place for war. Because the possibility exists you might do anything else, you're the only choice I have. Not yet. By some miracle, they've hired an imbecile to try and decipher the systems here. He spent months working at one console trying to get the solar reflectors to track the sun. What he doesn't know is that the only thing the console controls is the plant's intercom system. I tried to tell him, but he insisted that the largest console had to be the most important. Still, it's only a matter of time. What can I help you with? I saw that on the monitors here, and you sent it to everyone. Very admirable. Now that the NCR has more or less what they want, hopefully their curiosity about the plan is satisfied, and they'll dig no deeper. The followers will be grateful. Here, take these as a parting gift. I hope you'll find them useful. Keeping watch mostly. Trying to make sure the dangers of this plant are minimized.
You're the courier I've heard so much about. My squad needs your assistance. My squad was ambushed by a Legion party led by that bastard Alexis. He was taking us into the mine up ahead, but I managed to get away. I need help to get them out. That's already more than I was expecting. I'll keep watch to make sure no more Legion come up the road. Good luck. So any word on my friends? They must have run straight back to camp. I bet they didn't even stop and say thanks. The NCR could use someone like you. Stop by our camps if you're looking for work. I didn't expect someone as famous as you to be here. Please tell me you're here to help. I've got the Legion at Nelson breathing down my neck and not enough men or supplies to get this camp into fighting shape so we can strike back. I need someone to talk to a few of the officers and help them resolve some of the problems around here. If I can get this place in order, then I can focus our efforts on taking back Nelson from the Legion. And the more that gets done around here, the more resources I'll be able to put into assaulting Nelson. Good. Let's not waste time then. Our biggest problems right now are supplies and troops, and the Legion is draining us both. Quartermaster Mays has been complaining to me non-stop about the lack of supplies. But unfortunately, we aren't getting a resupply anytime soon. I want you to speak with him and see if there's anything you can do for him.
I didn't expect someone as famous as you here. What can I do for you? So, the Major has you running errands for him. Well, we're short on personnel as well as supplies, so we'll take all the help we can get. The Major let me send out some troops to gather supplies, but unfortunately they never returned. I'm guessing they ran into some trouble on the way. You can help by finding the troops and assisting them in bringing back any supplies they found. I sent them to Helios 1 to see if they had any supplies they could spare. They gotta be somewhere between here and there. I'd try searching the main road or checking with the men at Helios 1 to see if they know anything. Make it quick. I don't have time to stand around talking all day long. Me? Well, I've been doing this shit for far too long and I've been in too many battles to remember. Still, this has got to be one of the worst situations I've been in. Not too much I can do about it, but do my job and do it right. Not good. If we don't get more supplies, we're gonna have to start using dirt for food and sticks and rocks for weapons. Hey, how'd you like to do something for me? I want you to collect NCR dog tags from our fallen troopers. That way I can keep track of who's gone and how to reallocate our supplies. It's easy. Just bring back any NCR dog tags you find, and I'll try to make it worth your while.
What is it? Yeah, they were here a while ago. Gave them all I could, which wasn't much. But as many problems as we're having here, I know they've got it worse. I've seen soldiers get assigned there. It's like they got told they were gonna die. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. If you're trying to track them down, we put a GPS marker in the supply crate. You can track it with your Pip-Boy. Good luck.
If you're looking for supplies, I'll make this easy for you. There aren't any. But something tells me you're not here for that. What do you want? I take it my men weren't dead. It's a high price to pay, but these supplies will save a few lives here. Thanks for finding these. You should check in with the Major. I want to know about this.
I'm glad to see you here. We could definitely use your help. I heard. The extra supplies will help for a short time, but that only solves one of our problems. With all the Legion raids lately, we're running low on troops that can still fight. Some are injured, but even more are dead. I want you to check in with Dr. Richards and see if he needs any help getting our troops back on the front line. There's my little buttercup. What can I do for you? With business booming like it is, and considering I'm the only person with medical experience in the camp, I could perhaps use a hand. Do you have any medical experience? Excellent. As you can see, we have a lot of injured troopers here, and I haven't had time to look at all of them yet. Since you have some medical experience, I'd like you to examine them and see what you can do to treat them. Excellent job. Where'd you learn to do all that? I don't think I could have done much better myself. Very impressive. As for the men, they'll recover soon and be back on the front lines in no time. Huh, the circle of life. I'll send word to Major Politely about your work here. Once again, you have my sincerest thanks. We're kind of busy around here for social calls, so if you're not here to help out, just stay out of my way. Dr. Richards said you did a good job in there. That's mighty high praise coming from him. With the help you've given us, we're doing a little bit better, but we still have the Legion forces at Nelson to deal with. If we can retake Nelson, that will be a huge help to our efforts in this area and give us an advantage at Hoover Dam. Not really, but we don't have much choice. If you help out more around camp, I could spare some additional men for the battle. Reports have the Legion forces at Nelson sizable, but not insurmountable. Excellent. Killing the Legion commanders in Nelson will severely cripple the Legion forces and allow us to take back the city. Meet up with Sergeant Cooper just outside Nelson. He will assist you in reclaiming Nelson.
I've heard of you. Glad to have you on our side. We don't have many troops, so we can only attack from one direction. Where should we focus the attack? North it is. Reports also say they might have some NCR hostages. If that's true, we need to do what we can to save them, so stay sharp. Our main target is the Legion leader at Nelson. Intel has the commander as one Dead Sea. I've uploaded his last known location to your Pip-Boy. Let's move out!
We're getting close to Nelson.
Any closer, I'm shooting any Legionary I see. Hope that's not a problem. Damn right. You and I, we're just a couple of problem solvers.
Back already? What do you need? The initial reports have come back already. Excellent work. This will buy us a lot of breathing room to get back on our feet here. Now we can actually try to strengthen our forces along the river and prepare for the upcoming battle at Hoover Dam. You have my thanks. We owe you a lot. I can spare a few moments. Make it quick. Not good. We still haven't gotten any support from the rest of the NCR, and the Legion is kicking our ass right now. It's no picnic, I'll tell you that much. My troops are out here every day dying for the NCR, but they've left us out to dry. We have no men or supplies, and we're stretched too thin trying to guard the entire river. If the brass back home could get their heads out of their asses long enough to send support, we could turn this all around.
Hello? Hi, are you there? Oh, right. You can't respond. Listen, I'm using your robot as a relay to get this message to you. I've picked up some unusual chatter regarding your robot. It seems that it has some information that we could use. Oh, wait, where are my manners? This is Lorenzo, a knight with the Brotherhood of Steel. We'd be very interested in examining your tech.
Hi. Sorry to break in. He sounded truly riveting. I don't want to keep you much longer, but I'd like to make a counter-suggestion. I'm with the followers of the Apocalypse. We're much more liberal about the sharing of technology than those Brotherhood people. Bring your robot to us. We'll see that whatever information it may have on it is used for the greater good.
What's up? This shouldn't be too surprising, but I'd prefer you let the followers examine him. Hopefully the reasons are obvious. Great. Then all is right with the world.
Thank you for coming. Let's talk about that robot. I've heard through our channels that it has some research that may be related to Enclave and Poseidon energy technology. I'd like to get what I can from it and use that data for the good of humanity. All of humanity, unlike the Brotherhood. First, I'm going to pull off whatever log data I can. Then I'll use some of the tech around here to upgrade its weapons systems. Shouldn't be more than a few days' work. Thank you. I'll get it back to you as soon as I can with the upgraded weapon systems.
Did the Colonel send you? I was hoping he might have changed his mind. I know. I've been crying. Stupid. I'm supposed to be a soldier. My husband, he's a ranger, and he got murdered by a pack of fiends. Goddamn savages laid his body out to rot. Brass won't say it to me straight, but they mean to leave Esteban out there. I can see that plain. Colonel says he can't spare the men to bring Esteban back home. And the fiends, they put all kinds of mines and traps around his body. Snipers, too. His best friend, Jackson, tried. Didn't even get permission from his CO, so it could have cost him a lot. But he never came back. Mister, I'd about given up hope. But you've got to be careful. I don't want anybody else dying on my account. Esteban's body is laid out between some of the buildings, east of the Repcon headquarters. At least that's what his squad mates said. There's an NCR position just north of there. It's on the way. They should be able to tell you what the situation is.
Listen, asshole, I know you're not really an NCR health inspector, so you can cut the restaurant critique routine. And I want my 50 caps back. Because I looked it up, and there ain't no disease called colorectal implosion syndrome. So I paid you to look the other way for nothing. Wait, you're not... Oh, wow, I'm sorry. You look just like... Never mind, sorry. So what can I serve you up? That's nothing. You just look like the health inspector who stopped through for the yearly inspection a couple of weeks back. I was hoping I wouldn't have to wait another 11 months to see his crooked ass to get my caps back. Ah, well. Anything I can get you? Oh, yeah. You can order up anything you want. As long as it's corn or beans. Just kidding. Haven't you heard? With a few shipments from home and a little variety, The troops are getting restless for some quality grub. You can only do so much as a chef with just corn, beans, onions, and peppers. Well, we haven't had any quality meat in months. Everyone in the camp just eating beans for protein. It isn't pretty. Some of my kitchen machinery is broken down too, so we've been eating mostly raw vegetables. And I'm desperate for spices or seasonings. Anything, just something for the general mood around here. It doesn't need to all come from the same source. There are a bunch of different vendors around who sell meat. Fitz, the Nashes, Crimson Caravan. We've never really tried to go out and organize deals with merchants to supply our food. Already having an overstock of food, we haven't needed to. But we really need some good old red meat on the menu soon. So I'm willing to divert some caps in their direction if they're open to supplying us. Here's the list. We've been scrapping together quick fixes to keep it running for months. I think it finally crapped out and needs a full overhaul. It's the goofy machine behind the counter in the corner next to the stove. I'd be much obliged if you could take a look at it and get it fixed up. I don't know. Try the various traders around the waste. Or the pawn shop in Westside might have some parts. Oh, I've heard of a place called House Tools you could check out. It's an old factory on the north side of Vegas. Just a word of warning, though. I hear no one who goes in there comes back out. Could be traps, crazy robots, or who knows what's in that place. The Crimson Caravan would probably be able to arrange a regular shipment, but I don't know of any spices known to improve mood. Hell, we have a whole research department. One guy's even set up in the main terminal building. They're the ones who ought to be looking into it. Hey there, you looking to buy or sell? Won't be a problem. We have plenty of spice traders working with us back home, and we could get meat from the local Brahmin ranchers. The bigger issue is payment. To supply the camp with meat will cost some serious caps. That should work. We'll do a weighted exchange based on the going value of meat and vegetables. Water is invaluable in this dusty hole. Let McCarran know they should expect the first shipment in a week or so.
Oh my God, are you okay? You've got to get to a medic. Doc Kemp can patch you up back at base. How could you sacrifice your body like that? You never even met him. If the NCR doesn't have a medal for this, they should make one up. That must be some kind of code of honor you hold yourself to. You're like a man possessed. We'll make sure Ranger Morales' body gets sent back home. You don't have to, pick him up on your shoulder and haul him to California. Even though I believe you would if you had to. You should go tell Private Morales the news. I know she'll be relieved.
Did you start looking for Esteban? I guess my directions could have been better. They put him in a box? With a flag and all? I hope so. He'd have been proud. You're too good for this rotten town. First kind thing anybody ever did for me in Esteban. You ever need anything, all you need to do is ask. Thank you so much.
Howdy. Looking for chow? Amazing. I thought that thing was done for. That'll help me transform what I can offer the troops. I'll give you a little extra discount the next time you buy food from me. Thanks again. That should help balance our stock of food more reasonably and save us a ton of caps. Good work.
Hey, you're not one of the troopers. Got a second? I have work I need done and nobody here at the camp has the time or inclination to help me out. I have the delightful task of tabulating stockpiles, kill ratios, mission success rates, radiation deaths, and other truly fascinating numbers. I've come across numerous inconsistencies between our numbers and our reports, especially with regards to intercepting hostiles. I'm wondering if our radio security codes have been compromised. I need someone to deliver security code upgrades to each of the ranger stations. Less than a third of reported enemy sightings are getting intercepted. Either our intel is faulty, or our enemies are one step ahead of us. I've been trying to get someone to authorize this update, or at the least get field clearance to leave the camp and do this myself. But nobody takes me seriously. They just think I'm an incompetent desk jockey trying to glamorize the importance of my job. The security codes are unique to the radios at each ranger station. They're useless anywhere else. This holotape contains the updated security codes for the ranger stations. Show it to the comm officers there. Once the new codes are in use, anyone still using the old codes will just hear static if they're listening in on our frequencies.
I'm not supposed to let civilians just walk around this place. There better be a good reason for you being here. Very well. You can tell Reyes that this station is secure. Well, when there's trouble regular NCR troops can't handle, they send in a ranger. Problem solved. We're also responsible for keeping the borders of the NCR secure, scouting out threats, that sort of thing. I'm in charge of the radio, hence the title Comm Officer. I'd much rather be out on patrol since nothing much happens around here.
Gotta wonder what the hell a civilian is doing here. What, again? Didn't I just change those damn things? Alright, fine. Show me the new codes. Ranger Military Outpost. We're keeping an eye on the Legion activities south of here at Cottonwood Cove. Nothing going on down there at the moment. Just the usual slave trafficking. Poor bastards. Undoubtedly. Rangers are tough nuts to crack, though. And any force small enough to launch a surprise attack isn't going back in one piece. On the other hand, if the Legion goes for a full-scale attack, we'll see them coming, fall back, and wait for reinforcements. So we know what they'll do, and they know what we'll do, so we just sit around and keep an eye on each other. Believe me, I would love orders to take Cottonwood Cove apart and kick the Legion back across the river. But the brass at McCarran doesn't want us to waste resources on something they consider a minor target. So we just get to watch. This post isn't someplace a civilian ought to be. Just the usual. Legion scouts try to slip across the river a couple of times a week, but they always end up floating downriver with holes in their heads. All right. She radioed ahead and mentioned that somebody was coming by. Odd that she'd send a civilian instead of a trooper, though. If you're here to sell something, we don't want any. This is the frontier of NCR territory, and we're the first line of defense. You won't find much in the way of civilization east of here. South of here is Camp Guardian, but they've been having radio trouble, so they've been silent for a while now. No problem. Hey, do me a favor when you get back to Reyes and tell her that we don't need any more damn ammo. Wouldn't mind more water, though. You think I haven't tried? Every time I do, Camp Golf acknowledges the situation. And soon after that, more ammo. We're not gonna die of thirst anytime soon, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. It's not my call to make. You'd have to clear it with Ranger Erickson.
What brings you to Ranger Station Bravo? You're not stationed here, but your rep with the NCR speaks for itself. It's mostly rifle rounds, but I'll throw in a few boxes of pistol ammo. I really shouldn't be doing this for you. But there's no way we're gonna use all of this, or be able to carry it with us. We're here to make sure the Legion doesn't try to sneak around Lake Mead and come at NCR from another direction. No run-ins with the Great Khans, I hope. They've been more restless than usual. Tough, independent, and as ruthless as they come. They're holed up in Red Rock Canyon, and it's this station's job to keep an eye on them. Keeping watch on the Great Khans, mostly. They usually stick around Red Rock Canyon, but at least one large group left recently. We called it in, but haven't heard anything about any Great Khan incidents. Whatever they're doing, they're keeping a low profile.
You're here for the money. I told the Emeritus I was good for it. I just need more time. I talked to the cashier at Gamora into forwarding me some chips. I was convinced I was due for a hot streak. It didn't go so well. The Emeritus were nice and said they'd give me some time to pay them back. They also said if they had to talk to me about my debt again, they wouldn't be nice the next time. I don't want to talk about it. We were on patrol near the dam when a Legion raiding party jumped us. Didn't even have time to radio it in. I was hit in the head with a machete and knocked out. Didn't kill me, though some nights I wish it had. When I woke up, my nerve was gone. The rest of my squad was crucified, butchered, mutilated. I don't know how they missed me. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they knew they'd broken me. I gambled and drank a lot after that. Got into trouble. But the Rangers gave me a second chance instead of kicking me out. So here I am. Maybe. But thanks for saying it anyway. I operate the radio and call it in if we see any great cons moving out in large groups from Red Rock Canyon. Oh, well, yeah. I can do that. Thanks.
Welcome back. The station's been silent for quite some time now. I guess this confirms what we've all feared. Thanks for letting me know. I'll switch over all radio broadcasts to the new encrypted channels. This ought to help us stay a step ahead of any spies. Before you go, I've got another job available. We've received some disturbing reports from some of the ranger stations. Heavy casualties at Alpha, super mutant legionaries at Delta. The weirdest one has to be the Great Khans and their trained death claws at Foxtrot. These reports can't be accurate, can they? I know you've already been out there, but could you do me a solid and confirm these reports with the Rangers who sent them in? Thank you, and good luck.
No sudden moves, and you and I will do all right. What do you want? Keeping watch on the river and looking for anyone trying to cross it. The Legion likes to send infiltration teams over on rafts. No, I didn't. You might hear that kind of nonsense from a drunk trooper on the strip, but not from me. The Legion doesn't have super mutants. That patrol was wiped out by its own incompetence. A couple of the troopers were fooling around with a grenade when it went off.
Did you need something else? High casualties? We've had one broken ankle, but nobody at this post has died. Any injury, illness, or death gets radioed to Ranger HQ at Camp Golf. Chief Hanlon and his aides compile the reports and assign reinforcements as needed, and they're not needed here. There are other Ranger posts around. Reyes might have mixed up the report. Do a fucking head count then. Everybody's right where they're supposed to be. Reyes got the numbers wrong. Not much more to it than that. Welcome back. I knew it. Every one of the false reports was signed off by Chief Hanlon at Camp Golf. But why would the Chief manipulate the reports? I need you to take everything we found to Chief Hanlon and confront him with it. I don't want to make this public unless we have to.
Back west, you don't see too many of these. Lakes, I mean. Natural or man-made. Any kind, really. We neglected the dams or pumped all the water out a long time ago. Owens, Isabella, the San Luis. Drained the aquifers of everything they had. Just a lot of mud and dust now. It's a different feeling watching the sun come up over the water. Takes some getting used to. But if you're here long enough, it starts to seem normal. That's what a ranger's life is now, looking east. You must be the courier folks have been talking about. Word on the radio is that someone wronged you back in Good Springs. The Mojave has a way of burning decent people up. But it sounds like you've done right by the NCR. It's appreciated. Now what can I do for you? Folks around here call me the Chief, but Hanlon's just fine. The Rangers run themselves pretty well. But I try to lend a hand. Mostly administrative work, helping coordinate intel on the radio. That and keeping an eye on the fires growing across the water. It's a simple system when it works. Patrol Rangers radio intel to ranger stations. Comm Rangers send the intel up the station chain until it reaches Camp Golf. Then I or one of the other Rangers on duty organize the data, evaluate it, and send information to camps or troopers in the field. comm rangers might have an incomplete picture of the situation. There's a lot going on out there. Intel needs to be coordinated through Gulf so we can verify and advise appropriately. Troopers have enough to deal with. We don't want them questioning their intel. I don't know Technical Sergeant Reyes, but coordinating intel can be messy sometimes. Things get mixed up, people get confused. Heck, I get confused, and I've been doing this for a long time now. What he or she sees as a problem might be standard operating procedure. That's not to say Reyes is wrong for being concerned, but it's easy for the sand to get in your eyes out here. Well, the logical thing to do is to check with the patrol rangers and comm officers. Don't be too discouraged if some things don't match up. Different people see different things, and sometimes the meaning gets twisted, lost in static from person to person. Shoot. The best of the best, worst of the worst. He came out of NCR, one of the followers of the Apocalypse. Like a lot of the followers, he went out in the wilderness with a partner to try to help those who needed helping. Not much different from how the Rangers used to be, except with books and medicine instead of guns. Out to the Grand Canyon, he met a missionary from Utah, a man by the name of Joshua Graham. Graham helped translate for the followers and the tribes. All three of them got nabbed by the Blackfoots down there, back when they were still at war with every other tribe in the Southwest. Somewhere along the way, he realized he needed to educate the Blackfoots or they were going to get wiped out with the rest of the tribe. Showed them how to use guns, how to make explosives. Once he taught the Blackfoots a thing or two, they needed him. And he no longer needed the followers, NCR, or anyone else. He decided he could remake the tribes of the Southwest whether they wanted it or not. He became Caesar, and Joshua Graham became his legate, his right hand. And that's where Graham stayed until the Hoover Dam. Losing the dam was the worst defeat the Legion ever suffered. Graham had been with Caesar since the beginning, but he had to set an example. The Praetorians covered Graham in pitch, lit him on fire, and down into the Grand Canyon he went. It's not that clear-cut. You have to understand, Graham was the toughest son of a gun anyone around these parts had ever seen. Before Hoover, we had 5 kill reports on Graham from Rangers and 1st Recon sharpshooters who tried to take him out. Some folks think he's still alive. Call him the Burned Man. Yes and no. The Blackfoots don't exist anymore, just like any other tribe that gets swallowed by the Legion. Caesar takes the tribal out of the tribe. Scrapes and burns off tattoos, breaks up families, forces mixed breeding so all the old loyalties die away. The only tribe in the Legion is the Legion. Caesar is the chief, father, and god, all rolled into one. Shoot. Even Caesar knows that General Oliver's coming back to Hoover. Colonel Moore's doing a fine job of running things over at the dam. In her own way, of course, when she's not trying to wrangle my Rangers into helping her. But just keeping that dam secure and operational day to day is enough work for one person. Never mind building a defense against the Legion. Oh, well, now you'll have to excuse me. The General and I don't always see eye to eye on things. Maybe it's best that I just say he's a trooper, through and through. The man will not give up an inch for anything, least of all to the Legion. The Colonel's an effective commander, one of the best. But she sharpened her claws on the Vipers and the old Jackals. Did 4 tours against the Brotherhood, too. She used to be a Ranger until an injury took her out of action. Happens to a lot of us, unfortunately. She's better at making graves than making friends. Bring in Moore and the earth will be raised. fields will be salted. No, and thanks to General Oliver for that. Colonel Shue is at McCarran. Most of the new Vegas troopers are under his command. He's more sympathetic to the locals than Moore. Now that the fiends aren't giving him grief, we should see more troopers assigned to the front lines. Good work on that, by the way. Hope you got good bounties out of it. Shoot. Intel says the legate's coming. Lanius. They call him the Monster of the East. If he's half as bad as Graham was, we're in for a heck of a fight. With Caesar and a new legate here, the Legion's not going to fall for the same old bag of tricks. Oh, the usual reasons. People say he's enormous, carries a big sword, chops people's heads off. That's not what makes him a good commander, though. Folks say he came from a heck of a tough tribe. Took Caesar a long time to conquer. It was thanks to Lanius. But once Caesar broke him, he was born again. He'll go anywhere and do anything to win. Legion says he could smell weakness. Once he finds out where an army's vulnerable, he'll go to it like a dog for the throat. He was a missionary from Utah who hooked up with Caesar at the Grand Canyon, became his translator. Graham helped Caesar with the Blackfoots after they got captured together. Up until Hoover Dam, he was Caesar's legate. You wouldn't think a man of God could turn so brutal, cruel to his opponents. Did the sort of things that make you sick to talk about. He wasn't a brilliant strategist, wasn't tactically flexible either. There was something about him, though. Menace, indestructibility. He made everyone afraid of him. Heck, the Praetorians burned Graham 4 years ago, and some of the tribes are still afraid of him. They say the burned man still walks the land, blackens the earth wherever he sets foot. Shoot. I could tell you a lot if you had the time, but at my age, I'm not sure which of us would get tired first. What do you want to know? Suppose it depends on what you think's good. Most folks want to hear about Hoover Dam and Boulder City, but it's a long story. If you want some tall tales about hunting down slavers or busting up gangs, talk to one of the younger rangers. It's kind of a long one, but all right. About 25 years ago, a group of NCR settlers pushed way south into Baja. I guess it doesn't seem so far now if you look at a map, but back then they were out of ways. They built this little shanty town around a well in the middle of nowhere. Called it Rattletail. Word got back to one of our stations that raiders had been attacking the place. I went out with 6 rangers. We must have been on the trail for a week before we got to Rattletail. We lost one woman to night stalkers and another almost died of dehydration. When we reached the place, it's 6 shacks set up around an old well. There's over 24 bodies lying in the dunes way outside of town, and 5 men with .308 rifles crouched behind sandbags. And these bodies, these people out in the sand, they aren't raiders, aren't even heavily armed. They're just people who were trying to get to the only well in 50 miles. I didn't have to talk to the men to see that they did not care one bit. They had planted an NCR flag over the well. They would not budge until every last one of them was laid out dead and cold. So I walked up and told them there was a group of raiders coming, 100 strong. I made up some cockamamie name for them and everything. The men looked at each other, looked at us, and asked me what we were going to do about it. I told them we would take them back into NCR territory because we'd already lost 10 Rangers on the way out. 10 Rangers, 5 men with .308 rifles. Well, that was enough for them. They packed up what they could, and we took them back north. Last I heard, they settled somewhere in Anza Borrego. Raised bighorners. Had some tough times, but it worked out okay for them. So there you go. That's my one bit of good. In big battles, Caesar deploys his legionaries in waves. Recruits up front, prime soldiers behind the recruits, old guard bringing up the rear. Opponents wear themselves out dealing with the first two waves, if they survive that long. When the veterans step up, there's not much fight left. Caesar can adapt, though, and when required, he can run any mix of legionaries as skirmishers and still retain order in the ranks. Joshua Graham, Caesar's old legate, he wasn't so flexible. When the Legion attacked Hoover Dam, General Oliver ordered his troopers back to the middle ground just after first contact. Graham pushed all of the legionaries onto the dam, filling the east side with recruits up front and veterans in the back, by the book. But once they were in, they were stuck there. Oliver's troopers were entrenched and wouldn't give a foot. That's when we ordered the Rangers and the 1st Recon sharpshooters to start picking off veteran Legion officers from a high ridge west of the dam. That only lasted about a minute before Graham ordered the back ranks to push through to the front and rush the ridge. Caused total chaos among the younger legionaries. Oliver's troopers fell back to the side walkways and stayed out of the veterans' way. By the time the veterans got to the ridge, we were already in Boulder City. They followed us down there, but we were out before they realized what was happening. We had packed the old city with C4 and dynamite. Crude, but it did the job. Those who didn't die in the blast were in no position to mount a defense. The ones left on the dam didn't know what to do. The troopers routed them. Graham pulled the remaining legionaries back, but the battle was over. He went south, back to the Grand Canyon, back to Caesar. And that was the last we saw or heard from Joshua Graham. Shoot. Oh, well, I guess it must be coming up on 40 years or so. Back before Elise was chief, anyway. It was a heck of a lot harder then. Weren't as many of us to go around, but I think it was a lot easier to tell the good guys from the bad. Well, there's what we're supposed to be doing and what we're actually doing. There's a big gap between those two things, about as wide as that lake out there. To protect against all forms of tyranny, as simple as that. 30, 40 years ago, the wasteland was full of despots. Slavers, raiders, tough-talking hoodlums with gangs who'd like to kick around towns. Back then, the NCR military was still young. Couldn't cover much ground. It took groups like ours to tip the balance back to the good guys. Sitting on the shore of Lake Mead, looking east, listening to a radio, trying to not get too many people killed. I'm too old to be slapping leather, but I had hoped for something else. More than this, anyway. There's a lot of answers to that question, but it started with the Ranger Unification Treaty. We weren't always the only show in town. Nevada had its own posse, the Desert Rangers. They fought Caesar even farther east out in Arizona. Years back, we met with the Desert Rangers at Mojave Outpost and agreed to help them against Caesar if they would join the NCR. Shoot. Hold on. If we're gonna have this conversation, let's go somewhere more private. Don't worry, not much bite left in this old dog.